I didn't come over here to upset you or anything like that, but I thought you ought to know what's going on at your apartment.
I'm as concerned as you are, naturally. I just wish you would have handled it a little differently.
And how should I have handled it?
Look, you could have asked to speak to me privately. You didn't have to say the whole thing in front of a room full of people.
You know, I never seem to be able to do the right thing as far as you're concerned.
Okay, all right. Let's not stand here and argue. As long as I didn't bring my own car, would you just give me a ride home, and I'll see for myself what's going on.
Going on. There's a party going on over there. They're playing the music loud, they're drinking. Andrew is trying to sleep upstairs. I tell you, he could be screaming his head off and nobody would know because the music is playing so loud.
How many people are over there?
There's Betsy, another girl, and 2 boys.
That's all?
Isn't that enough?
Well, you made it sound as if it was a big, wild party.
Look, it could have been that when I walked in. I mean, they tried to hide the wine glasses, but I was too quick for them.
Betsy doesn't drink.
How do you know what she does when you're not there?
Because I trust her.
Oh.
Listen, please, let's not waste time arguing. Take me home, and then I will see what's going on.
I'd be happy to.
I knew he was upset when he left the house, but there really wasn't anything going on here. I just had a couple of friends over from school. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Was that Kim?
No, it was my grandmother. Dr. Dixon went straight over to the Hughes' house after he left here and told him there was a wild party going on.
What a creep.
Really? And him and Kim are on their way over here right now. Listen. I think you guys better leave before they get here.
Yeah, I think we ought to split, Jamie.
Oh, no way! That's like we're admitting we're doing something wrong.
No, it isn't, Lois. I think it'd be better if I talked to Kim alone.
Betsy, this was my idea. I'm not running out on you now.
Lois, look, Betsy said she can handle it by herself.
But maybe I can help her explain.
Does that mean you don't want me to drive you home?
Look, my mom should be coming home about now. It could be all over if she saw you driving me up. She thinks I'm here studying with Betsy.
Okay, well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
I'll see you before English.
Betsy, thanks for asking me over.
Thanks for coming, Jamie. I'm just sorry all this had to happen.
Yeah, I hope you're not in any trouble, because you didn't do anything really wrong. There's no reason why your mom or anybody else should get on your case.
I know.
Hope I'll see you again soon.
So long,
I
Betsy.
hope I see you too. Bye-bye, Kurt.
Hey, come on, cheer up. It's not the end of the world.
But you saw the wine. And when Kim asks me about it, I'm gonna have to tell her the truth.
Well, I hope Kim finds everything all right at home.
Yeah, so do I.
I guess I'll have to freeze this cake.
Well, there's one piece you're not going to have to freeze because I feel like I have time for that right now.
Well, you just sit down, and I'll serve it to you. Would you like to have coffee or milk with your cake, dear?
Coffee, I think, dear.
Chris. Did you think Bob sounded, a little strange when we were all talking to him on the phone tonight?
Strange?
I thought I caught something in his voice. I'm sure I didn't just imagine it.
Well, honey, it was a pretty bad connection between here and London, and a lot of people wanted to say hello to him.
Well, maybe he could just have been homesick.
I think that's understandable, with Dana being here, Bob being in London.
Yes. It's possible that that's what it was, all right.
I knew if there's something else, you still look worried.
Oh, I can't help wondering why Bob didn't call from Penny's. And then we would have been able to talk to her, too.
Well, maybe Penny was busy tonight, dear.
Even though Bob said to Dana that he and Penny had been having dinner together every night?
Betsy, sit down, will you?
I can't help it. They're gonna be home any minute.
You've got to try to stay calm. You're going to make yourself nervous walking around like that. In fact, you're making me nervous, too.
Nothing like this has ever happened to me. Kim and I have never had any problems.
Are you serious?
She's always trusted me, and I wanted to keep it that way.
Well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. It always does when you try to stand up for your rights. Oh, you should hear some of the arguments I have with my mom. That's why I'm grounded and I can't date on school nights.
I wish I told her that Kirk and Jamie were coming over before she left.
Hello, girls.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Mrs. Stewart. Did you have a nice time with your friends?
Yes, I did, thank you. John, thank you for driving me home.
Anytime.
I can handle things from here on in.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'd just like to check on Andy. I think we should see if he's all right.
He's fine. I just gave him some milk.
He's awake then?
He was just for a minute, then he went right back to sleep.
Well, it won't hurt if I take a look at him.
I assume you girls know why I'm home early.
Grandma called.
I've heard John's version of what happened. I'd kind of like to hear yours.
It was really nothing, Mrs.
Lois, I want to hear this from Betsy, if you don't mind. I understand there were some boys over here?
Yes. Kirk Simmons and Jamie Platt. Lois dates Kirk, and he called right after you left.
I see. I take it he knew you would be here?
Sure, I told him I'd be studying here.
And he asked if him and Jamie could come over. And I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. I mean, you said I could have friends over whenever I want to.
Well, I'm not saying that there was necessarily anything wrong with his being here. It's just that I wish you had called to get my permission. Then at least I would have known what was going on.
I'm sorry. I really wasn't thinking, I guess.
Was the music playing terribly loud when John got here?
Kind of.
Oh, it wasn't as loud as it was before, though.
Before what?
Well, you see, we turned the music up so we could dance. But then I asked Kirk to turn it down lower so he wouldn't wake Andy up.
Do you think you could have heard Andy if he'd been crying?
Oh, sure we could have. Betsy even went up and checked on him.
And what about the fact that John said he found some half-empty wine glasses? Is that true?
Yes, it's true. Kirk and Jamie brought over half a bottle of wine. But I didn't drink any of it.
Good, I'm glad you didn't. And I appreciate your honesty about it. But you do realize it was wrong for you to let the boys drink here in your home.
Mrs. Stewart, it wasn't Betsy's fault.
Are these boys your age?
Well, they're in high school. Jamie's 2 years older than Betsy. Almost.
So they're not even legally old enough to drink.
Kim, I'm sorry.
Bets, honey, the next time you have a party, I don't care how many people are involved, I want to be home. Agreed?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to go up and check on Andy myself, and then I'm driving you home, Lois.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Stewart. Well, we sure got out of that one okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for not telling her I had some wine, too.
She didn't ask me. Because if she did, I would have had to have told her the truth.
Oh, come on, Betsy. You wouldn't rat on a friend.
Lois, I don't lie to Kim.
Well, you ought to learn to tell little white ones sometimes without falling all to pieces. Because that kind of honesty can ruin your whole school year.
How can it?
There are a lot of things you're still not old enough to do without your folks' permission. And if they don't give it, well, you've just got to improvise.
Well, I'm not going to do anything without telling Kim first. I haven't done it before, and I'm not going to start now.
Okay, it's your life. I sure hope Kim doesn't come into the house when she drives me home. If she tells my mom what happened tonight, I'm going to be grounded on the weekends, too.
All right, Lois, if you get your coat, please, dear.
Sure.
Is Andy all right?
Yes, he's just fine. John.
You go ahead. I'll stay until you get back.
Well, that's not necessary.
No, I suppose not, but I would feel better about it in light of what I saw earlier.
Kim, Can I talk to you a minute first, alone?
I'll wait for you in the car. Night, Betsy.
Good night, Lois. Kim, you won't say anything to Lois's mom, will you?
I hadn't given any thought to it. Why?
Because I wish you wouldn't. She's very different from you. She's very strict with Lois.
Well, did it ever occur to you that there might be a reason for that?
Yes, and I think it's because Mrs. Middleton just divorced Lois's dad, and she feels she has to take the place of both parents. But you see, the thing is Lois will never forgive me if her mother finds out. And her friendship is very important to me. I've never had a friend as pretty and as popular as she is.
Look, honey, I haven't given any thought, as I said, to whether I'm going to talk to Lois's mother or not. But as far as I'm concerned, what happened here tonight is your responsibility. I just hope that you're not putting too much stock in being popular.
Well, don't you think it's important?
Well, I think it's nice. But I also think you have other close friends. Muffy.
Muffy's not Lois, though. I mean, Lois is different. Her relationship, it's special.
Special in what way?
I'm accepted now by people who never even talked to me before. I mean, Jamie Platt, he's a senior, and he's the captain of the football team. And he came over here tonight because I'm a friend of Lois's.
I'll be back. Just a bit.
Well, I guess you're angry with me now, huh?
No. I knew you'd tell Kim.
Well, I hope you know that the reason I did that was concern over Andrew.
I also think there's another reason.
What reason do you think?
You did it because I'm Dan Stewart's daughter. You never liked my father. You never liked me either.
Listen, thank you very much. Cake was delicious. Chris, I'll call you tomorrow.
I'll see you later.
Mary, Don, nice seeing you.
Good night.
Night.
So long, Rob.
So long.
Oh, dear.
Nancy, it's all right.
It's just, he is still a friend.
Of course he is. I know that. And I'm glad. He needs friends like you and Chris right now.
Well, if I'd known he were here, I wouldn't have come barging in that way.
Well, now let's all just sit down and forget about it. Your mother has baked a wonderful cake.
Ooh.
You know, actually, I brought Mary over to say hello to your dinner guests. How come the party broke up so early?
It broke up when John Dixon came over to get Kim on what he said was an emergency.
An emergency? There's nothing wrong with Betsy or Andy.
Oh, no. I've just talked to Ellen, and she said when Kim got home, everything was all right. But John was certainly upset when he came over here.
And he succeeded in upsetting Kim. Well, let's enjoy the cake, shall we?
I hope you don't mind. I thought it would be a nice night for a fire.
Well, you're just going to have to put it out because I am going right to bed.
So soon?
This emergency call of yours took quite a bit out of me, John.
I don't understand you sometimes.
Well, that shouldn't surprise either one of us.
I would have thought you'd been thankful for my concern.
I appreciate it. Yes, I do. What you walked in on here tonight was not so terrible. And the thing that upsets me most of all is that Betsy didn't call and get my permission. But she will the next time.
Doesn't bother you that they were drinking?
Yes, of course it bothers me. I don't approve of it at all. But Betsy wasn't drinking. And I don't think she'll let that happen again either.
How can you be sure?
Because I explained to her why it was wrong for her to have the boys in here drinking, and she understood.
You punish her in any way?
Listen, she has been through a very difficult time. It just seems to me it is more important for me to be supportive of her right now and not to be walking around here all glum and disapproving.
I think you're being indulgent.
Well, I don't care what you think. Not interested in your opinion.
Let me just say, I think if you're not careful, you're going to have your hands full of Betsy.
She's a very sensitive, highly responsible girl.
Not long ago, I would have agreed with you. I mean, she's always been a polite, unspoiled girl.
And she hasn't changed.
Forgive me, but I think she has. You know, after you left to take her friend home, I tried to explain to her why I went over to Nancy's and brought you back here. I told her it was out of my concern for Andrew. And she as much as called me a liar. She said my real reason was because she was Dan Stewart's daughter.
She has an incredible insight for a girl her age.
You standing up for her?
Only because I feel as if you take particular delight in upsetting me for almost the same reason. It's almost as if you feel you have to get back at me because I fell in love with Dan and married him.
That's incredible. You actually think that I would run over...
Excuse me.
Hi.
Valerie, hi.
I'm sorry to barge in like this. I was in town for a meeting. I thought I'd come in and say
Oh,
hello.
hi. I'm glad you did. Come on
Good.
in.
Hi, John. Oh, I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No, you're not. John was just leaving.
Right. Nice to see you again, Valerie.
Yes.
I'll keep in touch.
What was that?
Don't ask. You'll never know how glad I was to open that door and find you standing there. I was kind of upset with John for building the fire. Now I'm glad he did it.
It's so nice.
Where's Kate tonight? Didn't her into town with you?
No, Kate has two friends staying with her tonight.
Oh, on a weeknight?
Oh, yes, but she promised me they go to bed early. However, I think I should go home pretty soon and check.
What do you hear from Alex?
I hear wonderful news from
Really?
Alex. Yes, we've almost finalized our plans for Kate and me to go to Ecuador for Christmas.
Oh, that is good news. I bet Kate is so thrilled.
No, I haven't told her yet. I wanted to make sure before I told her that was going to happen.
Well, what could possibly happen that it wouldn't?
I don't know, but it's 2 months away, and you never can tell what's going to happen in 2 months, and I just don't want her to be bitterly disappointed.
Oh, well, I'm sure it's all going to work out just fine. It's too perfect a plan to fall through.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm going to start to think positively.
Good.
Kim,
Yes.
are you okay? I'm worried about you, and I think about you a lot, and you're going to go through these holidays by yourself.
I'm just fine. You know, I really believe in getting the most joy out of life that you possibly can. And that, and the happiness of my children and my friends, that's as important to me as it ever was. I suppose, in a way, it's even more important right now.
You're an amazing woman.
No, I'm not. Not at all. Something happened tonight that really upset me. You feel like listening to it? I mean, just between you and me?
Yes, absolutely. Please tell me.
Nancy invited me to come over for dinner tonight, and I accepted. I left Betsy and her girlfriend here to take care of Andy. They said they were going to study. It seems that a couple of boys came over, and they turned on the stereo, and they started dancing. And then John stopped by to check up on Andy, and unfortunately he found them here dancing and having a party. So, of course, he came right over to Nancy's to tell me what was going on.
Wait, because 4 kids were dancing?
Well, the thing is, he found glasses half full of wine here. Betsy admitted that the boys brought the wine. She supplied the glasses.
Now, do you think Betsy was drinking?
Oh, no, not this time, but I just can't help but wonder if it's going to stop there.
Think she's getting in with a bad crowd, kid?
I certainly hope not. I trust her judgment in most things, but it seems so important to her to be popular.
I think Betsy is going to be just fine.
Hope so. Thanks for listening, kiddo.
Oh, any time.
I meant to ask you, how is Ralph doing these days?
Well, you know he broke up with Mary.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed. I can see that he's very unhappy.
I'm worried about him. He's very lonely, and he's trying to pretend very hard that he's not lonely. So he seems to be throwing himself into work to try to forget Mary or forget everything he had.
Hi, Kim. Oh, I didn't know you were awake. You could have come down and say hello to Valerie.
I knew she was here. I just didn't feel like seeing anybody tonight.
I see.
Kim? There's something that I want to tell you before I go to bed.
What is it?
Well, I didn't exactly lie to you tonight. But I didn't tell you the whole truth either.
Really?
I knew that Lois had asked Kirk and Jamie to come over before you had left for the Hugheses.
You did.
I was just so afraid that you wouldn't let them come.
Well, you're right. I probably would have asked you to wait for another night when I could be home.
It's just that, well, I so much want to become part of the world again. I want the kids at school to like me, and not think of me as different or dull.
Sweetheart. I want the same things for you. And you'll have those things if you go about it the right way.
It's just, I'm so confused about so many things now. About who I am, and what I can count on. And I have to find these things out.
Oh, honey, I just think you're being a little impatient.
I want to know something. If I'm so confused about myself. How can I trust someone else?
You can't. You have to know yourself, sweetheart. And that's a choice that we all have to make. And what you're going through really isn't terribly unusual.
It isn't?
I'll tell you something else. As long as you and I can be so honest with one another, the way we are right now, we're going to be just fine.